Overall, remittance is one of the most important money sources for developing countries. Specifically, 11% poverty reduction in Uganda is linked to remittances. 80% of new businesses in the country are founded by remittances. And meanwhile, lower remittance by 1.8 billion will put 14 million children into school, improve sanitation for 8 million people, and provide safe water for 21 million people. By reducing transactional costs, cryptocurrency greatly promotes equality and economy in developing countries. And also, cryptocurrency also benefits people in wealthy countries. For example, people with low credit scores or lack of documentation are not allowed to access bank accounts. Right now, they're subject to payday loan services that charge extremely high fees. According to NPR, those fees can force them to give 10% of the payment check in order to get paid. But cryptocurrency has solved this problem. Condition 2, benefit businesses. First, cost reduction. According to Good Audience, companies like MoneyGram, Microsoft, IBM, and other major banks have already adopted cryptocurrency like Ripple and deployed it as a bridge currency. The benefits are threefold. First, because business costs, such as transactional costs and processing costs. Coinsbase explains that by adopting Ripple, the platform saves 75% on transactional costs, amounting up to $18 billion. U.S. merchants, for instance, lose $78 billion in the costs associated with debit and credit purchasing. Cryptocurrency save it. Second, it reduces processing time from several days to nearly an instant. And third, it eliminates fraudulent chargeback costs for traditional banking, amounting up to $31 billion. Also, companies like Tesla, Lionsgate Films, Virgin Galactic, and Microsoft are already acknowledging those benefits and embracing this technology. Contention 3, cryptocurrency can fight against deplatforming. Cryptocurrency can help freedom of speech organizations to still exist. The platforming is when an activist organization kicks off traditional payment systems such as PayPal and SWIFT, so cryptocurrency will be able to support them. One major example is the WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is a platform built to allow whistleblowers on a platform to expose corruption and illegal actions such as criminal activities, terrorism, hacking, tax evasion, war crimes, and government corruption. According to Forbes and CoinDesk, WikiLeaks was kicked out of traditional banking channels for donation, so they have decided to establish a payment channel in cryptocurrency. WikiLeaks have established Bitcoin donation in 2011, Zcash, Monero, and Ethereum in 2017, and since then, cryptocurrency has proven to be the most used donation mechanism for this group, such as Bitcoin. It has already received more than 26,000 transactions. People will be able to publish without fear or favor, bring transparency in powerful factions and secretive institutions, not taking any side except from the truth, with further peace, accountability, self-determination, and freedom of speech. One example is exposing corruption in the Democratic Party, ranking the primary in favor of Hillary Clinton in 2016. The exposure led to reforms that guarantee a more fair primary process this year. The benefits of WikiLeaks include better government accountabilities and a pressure to officials to act in best interest to their own civilians rather than their own self-interest. So for all these reasons, we're ever so proudly to stand pro. Thank you.
Judge ready? Poems ready? My team ready? My time starts now. Okay, from the first we got content in our framework is that the content can prove that cryptocurrencies are more harmful in the short term and will prevent a long-term benefit from happening in this debate. On to some definitions. Cryptocurrency. A digital currency in which encryption techniques are used to regulate the generation of units of currency and verify the transfer of funds, operates independently of central bank, meaning it's just like for Oxford Dictionary. On balance, this phrase helps us to divert this debate. Both we have to defend cryptocurrency being good or bad, but not to extremes. This phrase tells us to consider all the countries in the world, or at least the majority of them. On to our first assertion, cryptocurrency is very volatile. Cryptocurrency is very volatile. Investors are looking for currencies that are extremely stable. Why are cryptocurrencies volatile? According to Accurate Capital Management, about 1,000 people own 40% of the world's bitcoins, which means those 1,000 people have a strong influence on bitcoin's prices, therefore causing it to be volatile. According to Forbes, the reason that cryptocurrencies fail to fulfill vital roles and the source of the sector is being functional, viable general currency, there is no getting away from the fact that Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies that follow will propel about lifestyle volatility. Bitcoin is much more volatile versus the USD and high inflation Argentine peso. Bitcoin and Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies are far more volatile than traditional stocks, and their values can often rise or drop significantly in minutes. If people try crypto, their money will lose value in a matter of seconds. This will affect thousands of people instantly. For investors, they will lose their money if they put into cryptocurrency on sum of money. For central banks, this will lead to financial instability, meaning their economies will be unstable. On to our second subpoint. Because rich people market manipulation. Because rich people occupy most of cryptos, they can manipulate the market, making it very volatile. According to SH YK Pao LZ, in 2018, a transaction worth $15 million made by the investor caused the price of Bitcoin to rise 20%. In 2019, the CEO of Ripple holds 60% of all coins and is now facing multiple losses from manipulation. Top 160 investors control 50% of Bitcoin. The second reason is the lack of regulation. John Griffin, the professor at University of Texas, argued that price manipulation played an outsized role in Bitcoin's rise in value during 2017. All these evidences can show that common phenomenon of market manipulation in the cryptocurrency system. This can lead to a lot of illegal practices with cryptocurrency, such as wash trading, pumps and dumps, which is linked to scamming and stealing. All these can cause severe economic loss in our lives and the economy, which makes it harmful instead of beneficial. That leads to our second assertion. Cryptocurrency is criminal. Our second A, illegal transactions. According to a study this year, approximately 1/4 of Bitcoin users and 1/2 of Bitcoin transactions are associated with illicit activity. Around $72 billion of illegal activity per year involves Bitcoin, from TOC. And also, this proves that cryptocurrency allows illegal transactions and the police are unable to get hold of the criminals in real world. Subpoint B, hacking can happen. Cyber criminals have netted more than $4.3 billion from cryptocurrency exchange they invested in since 2019. And also, there has been a 51% hack that actually hacks 51% of the cryptocurrencies. Also, subpoint C, scammings can happen. Cryptocurrency scammings are large-scale and devastating environments. According to cointech.com, a recent study prepared by IC advisory firms at Google revealed that more than 80% of initial coin offerings in 2017 are identified scams. More than 1,000 cryptocurrencies are already dead. ISO scams have a devastating impact on local economies and could result in global economic decline. And also, 56,000 people were scammed. These leads to a criminal activity drive, damaging the economy and even threatening the well-being of the entire country, harming the consumers. People will lose their money because of thieves, hackers, and scamming, and they cannot get it back. On to our third assertion, cryptocurrency has huge energy consumptions and will lead to global warming. The process of mining Bitcoin takes an enormous amount of energy. The amount is ridiculous, and we could put that energy to a much better use. In November, the power consumed by the entire Bitcoin network was estimated to be higher than that of recorded iron. It's consumed with CO2 emissions of 20 megatons, roughly 1 million translated francs from theguardian.com. Bitcoin mining consumes more energy in 59 countries in CBSNews.com. The impact of that is that actually Bitcoin only resulted in equivalent of 69 million metric tons of CO2 in 2019. It cut off enough greenhouse gas to warm the planet by 2 degrees Celsius in the mid-2030s from Wired.com. This shows that cryptocurrencies have a huge impact on the environment, so therefore cryptocurrency is more harmful than benefit. Thank you.
Any reply?
No.
So ask the first question. Do you know how much percent of crypto uses renewable energy?
Well, actually, for example, China's we admit that it uses renewable energy, but that renewable energy is actually hydroelectric power. Hydroelectric power is insufficient to supply the large quantities of it. According to Science Daily, my second speaker will actually elaborate on that further. Okay, it's my question right now. Sorry. Okay. This is so. God. This is so for me. Okay. So according to your point about WikiLeaks, cryptocurrencies are anonymous, but later on in your speech, you say that it's transparent. So is cryptocurrencies anonymous or transparent?
What do you mean?
Because WikiLeaks, you said you're going to protect people telling people that going to corrupt. So actually, you're using that anonymous.
So do I need to
protecting these people?
do I need to explain the logic to you?
It's because you both said that it's anonymous and transparent.
Actually, WikiLeaks is a platform which allows anonymous speakers to discuss about those issues. So
yes.
It is actually receiving funds from cryptocurrencies.
Why do they need to use receipts on funds and cryptocurrency? Because it's anonymous, right?
Already been kicked out of the traditional system, and because they're kicked out, those people cannot produce, they cannot talk about political issues.
They're kicked out. Yeah. So that's why they're actually providing anonymity so that they can actually give the money to them. So that's actually promoting anonymity because you said in your speech
is promoting equality because WikiLeaks, for example, has helped help discover the corruption in the Democratic Party. Primary in favor of
cryptocurrency is actually protecting these others by putting them they have to be anonymous. So therefore, are you admitting that they're anonymous?
Is receiving donations from cryptocurrency.
So these donations have to be anonymous in order so that they were not caught. So therefore, they're agreeing on the point that cryptocurrencies are anonymous. Answer your question right now.
Okay. So, you mentioned scams, right?
Yeah.
So do you know what ICO is?
ICO is the national coin offerings, and also we have proven now more than 1,000 crypto projects are dead. 56,000 people are scammed. Answer our question right now. Thank you. So what incentive would a corrupt government have to use cryptocurrencies if they're
never mentioned corruption?
Yes, you did. You said that cryptocurrency could solve corruption because Yeah, you said that.
Okay, we're mentioning that Weekly is a platform that people can discuss about political activities such as platforms.
This is actually another
tax
point in
evasion.
your...
Yes, that's why we're mentioning corruption, because Weekly is a platform that we can discuss about those problems.
Wait, I have already stated that WikiLeaks, for example, why they use cryptocurrencies because these people cannot be caught, right? That therefore, if their place has to stand, it has to put a cryptocurrency are anonymous in order to protect these consumers, giving the money to WikiLeaks. That's a simple argument.
The corrupt government harming everybody and the citizens.
Do you have any evidence showing that exposing? And also, we have already proven that if you have to expose it, you have to prove that cryptocurrency are anonymous, and anonymity can prove a lot of harms. For example, illegal transactions, hackers, illegal transactions, $78 billion, and also 56,000 people scammed. So answer your question right now.
Okay.
Any time?
Okay, so judges ready? Opponents ready? Opponent ready? My time starts now. First, according to my opponent's first contention, to tell us about volatility. However, we have to clarify volatility would not actually affect our argument, since contrary to perception, cryptocurrency actually prevents volatility. For example, according to BIG's exchange yield, BitPesa avoids volatility. BitPesa allows users to send and receive payments over 7 different mobile money networks connected to 60 banks across Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and is not subject towards volatility. Even more, our opponents only told us about the rate of volatility. However, why does the rate matter? It's only a number. They never told us the impact. How much money was lost about volatility? Should we just neglect this argument since they gave us no apparent impact? Even so, we believe that volatility exposure is most important. Actually, according to Ripple Insights, typical XRP payment has 1/10 of volatility exposure of a typical SWIFT exchange. Even during the high volatility rally period, 1 hour fiat volatility is equivalent to 1 minute of Ripple volatility. This means that during crypto exchanges, people are in and out of digital assets fast usually take about 3 and 4 seconds. And actually, my post actually only provided one example of Bitcoin, so actually it's cherry-picked examples. And moreover, they told us about market manipulation. Again, they only mentioned Bitcoin and Tether, and they gave us actually a rate and told us there's a link between. However, we see no link, so we don't understand what they're talking about. And even so, since the beginning of history, the rich people who has the most resources, of course, has the most control. So actually, that is the problem with history, not a problem with cryptocurrency. Moving on, they told us criminal activity, like hacks. However, again, they only mentioned Bitcoin, and even so, we have a couple of responses. First, transparency does not negate anonymity. Cryptocurrencies are actually not perfectly anonymous and not a way for criminals to use either. They found that by discovering the similarities between the exchanges, they can actually reveal the identity of 14% of Bitcoin. Thus, traditional means like cash is far better for criminals, and investigation into Backpage uncovered 1,843,977 Bitcoin wallets and users on site. Actually, impact term. How would you know that the crimes happen if cryptocurrencies are actually as untraceable as their signed claims? Actually, cryptocurrencies are the ones who could better combat criminal activity. According to a report done by University of Sydney, cryptocurrencies have been proven to be effective in detecting illegal activity due to the public nature of the blockchain. For example, the Silk Road marketplace was raided by the FBI on October 2nd, 2013, seizing Bitcoin of customers and supply escrow accounts. Then he told us about hacking and scamming. However, specific case shows, according to Shiko Fukada, when coins went missing from a failed Bitcoin exchange called MT Gox, FBI agents actually arrested this Russian man and charged him with laundering Bitcoin worth some $4 billion at recent exchange rates. So actually, governments are actually regulating this market and stopping these acts from happening. Moving on, they told us about energy consumption. But we have a couple of responses. First, actually, energy consumption is completely overblown. It only stands for less than 0.25 of global energy usage. Dr. Katrina M. Kelly, manager of strategy and business development, explained that even if blockchain Bitcoin technology were to mature by more than 100 times its current market size, it will still only equal to less than 2% of all energy consumptions. And even so, for cryptocurrencies, we can use at least 74.1% of all electricity for renewable energies, making it more renewable driven than any large-scale industry in the world. But look at farming, where we're actually cutting down trees using 18.4 million gigatons of energy, 10 million liters of water and printing money, leading to 3.2 million tons of CO2 emissions. Again, they're cherry-picking examples for only providing Bitcoin to this example as well. Therefore, it's not unbalanced. Moving on, they believe that WikiLeaks has a link to anonymity. However, first we have to clarify, WikiLeaks is not a cryptocurrency, so we don't know what they're talking about, how anonymity. What we're saying is that WikiLeaks can actually help people to have more freedom in speech and actually reveal the terrorism and criminal acts, therefore solving criminal usage more because it guarantees more transparency using donations through cryptocurrencies, so we don't know what they're talking about anonymity, because we're only claiming that we're giving donations and supporting this website. Okay, so therefore we urge for a pro ballot. Thank you.
Half a minute.
Okay, so is everyone ready? My time starts now. As the second speaker from the con team, I would like to draw all the points stated by our opponents and also make some defense. Judge, our opponents in the whole debate are contradictory to themselves. They have been talking about WikiLeaks as one of the ways to share new leaks, which is totally anonymous. However, our opponents have been in her rebuttal speech, which is that it's not totally anonymous, so we believe our opponents themselves don't know what the problem of anonymous is. Okay, move on to their first contradiction. They talk about transfer costs, but actually, cryptocurrency cannot make lower transaction fees. Fees typically increase in accordance with the growing usage and popularity of cryptocurrency network. Bitcoin is the best example of this. As Bitcoin has surged in popularity, more people are seeking to place transactions within the network. The pressure on the network is increasing as its resources become scarcer. Bitcoin's scalability problem makes matters worse, and the result is the transactions are taking more time to process. And depending on the app, people are paying higher fees to get the transaction process first, according to cryptocurrencywire.com. And they have been talking about business costs, and they have argued that the transfer costs are getting higher and higher, which they're going to extent. Move on to their second contradiction. They have been talking about WikiLeaks, but actually, according to TechTarget.com, WikiLeaks is an international non-profit organization that publishes new leaks and classified media provided by anonymous sources. Judge, our opponents is basically talking about WikiLeaks. It is anonymous and people can share about some leaks, but actually they are talking. It's agreeing to us because we have been talking about criminal activities, illegal activities, hacking scams, which are all based on anonymity. So that means that our opponents are actually agreeing to us that criminal activities, illegal usage, scams, and hackings are actually happening, which means that our opponents just really ignore about that. Okay, moving on to they also talk about corruption, about that WikiLeaks can actually solve corruption problem, which is actually not true. Our opponents argue that the blockchain and cryptocurrency can reduce, like WikiLeaks can reduce corruption in governments, but there's a major problem with the argument. The contention is merely speculative and isn't actually happening in the real world. Governments will never allow the cryptocurrency to be an alternative to paper money without their approval or consent. Government will never allow, for example, India has already banned cryptocurrency because the government is in fear of cryptos moving out of the Philippines currency. China has also banned cryptocurrency. If BTS and other cryptos are going to be accepted into use for payments, then whether it will go up and destabilize the single fiat currency in the major concern for a large panel and representatives of the India government tech. Okay, move on to our defense. First, volatility. We believe that volatility will directly affect the people's economy. The price fluctuation of Bitcoin causes financial instability, according to University of Bristol in 2019. The price of Bitcoin exceeded $19,203 in December in 2017, whereas only $0.06. The last time this technology index hit such a low value was in February 2018, when it was in A. During this time, Bitcoin dropped nearly 50% from $11,000 to $5,000. Following the downward movement, BTCs rose 100% to reach 11,000 on February 2018. And so they definitely lost their money. Move on to some criminal activities. According to a study conducted earlier this year, according to Forbes.com, approximately 1/4 of Bitcoin users and 1/2 of Bitcoin transactions are associated with illicit activities. Around $70 billion of unlawful activities per year involves Bitcoin, which is close to the scale of US and the European market for illicit drugs, as we have claimed according to Forbes.com. Okay, move on to our context about market manipulations. Because small groups are owning cryptocurrency low cost, we are proving that actually market manipulation will only cause volatility. And our team has also talked about bank accounts, and it will actually bring banking access, which is actually not true. Because first and foremost, while people can access cryptocurrency on their phones, there's no way to bring it in stores. And also, according to World Bank, the reason why 2/3 of people don't have bank accounts is because they don't have money to open one. And the other want it is because they don't feel it necessary to have one. So using cryptocurrency doesn't really solve this problem. So that's why, Judge, in today's debate, we firmly believe that cryptocurrency is more cost beneficial. So that's why please vote for cost.
Oh, sorry. So I believe it's my first question. So I think you talked about how we have to consider if con-site provides short-term harms. So then why do we have to care about energy consumption if these harms are in the future?
Oh, sorry, we would like to clarify. We are focusing on short-term and long-term harm because we think that short-term harm will only prevent long-term benefits from happening. Okay, move on to our question. You still want to talk about this. You have been talking about WikiLeaks as anonymity. So how can you then prevent?
Okay, we never stated that WikiLeaks are anonymous. We only stated that WikiLeaks were kicked out of traditional banking channels for donation, so they are using cryptocurrency. We never stated that WikiLeaks causes anonymity. We don't understand what you're talking about. Yes.
We have already proven in our rebuttal. According to TechTarget.com, cryptocurrency is an international non-profit organization that publishes new leaks and our.
So what is your question?
Follow-up.
Okay, it's my question now. So why does Bitcoin volatility matter if we're not talking about Bitcoin but Bitpesa?
We have already proven that volatility just directly affects.
Sure, but how is that a rebuttal to our point if we never talk about Bitcoin?
We have already proven that it directly affects people's economy. So we believe that it just will. It's really
sure, but follow up. In our case, we stated for M-Pesa, not Bitcoin. So why does your Bitcoin rebuttal even matter?
And Bitcoin is also cryptocurrency, so that is why we should focus on.
Sure, you can have a question.
Yeah, of course, it's my question. Yeah. Okay, so we have been talking about transfer costs, but can you explain to me that?
What do you mean?
Because transfer costs.
For first contention, do I have to repeat our first contention?
Can you prove me any evidence to prove that actually the transfer costs are being reduced?
Yes. As a result, online payment companies charge customers 3% less 8%, but now we're lowering to 3% and saving $26 billion for the poor.
So are the users actually being benefited by that?
Yes, saving $26 billion are to the poor benefit from this. And even more, we told you we're lowering this by $1.8 billion will help to put 14
But actually, we have already proven that
sanitation.
the transaction speed is actually getting higher.
But we showed you evidence that we are improved sanitation for
But we
8
have also proven evidence that transaction speed is only getting higher but not
are happening in the status quo right now where your security harms won't possibly happen in the future. We told you already.
Judge, we would like to clarify. We have already proven in our rebuttal speech that actually the transaction speed is only getting higher and higher.
How much
it
higher?
will not reduce.
Can you tell me how much higher?
Prove the evidence.
How much? Yes. How much higher?
Cool. Wait for a second. Okay, transactions fee. Okay, actually, we have already proven, according to cryptocurrency.wire.com, that as Bitcoin has surged in popularity, more and more people are seeking to place transactions within the network. Bitcoin scalability problems making backers work, and the result
So the
is
scalability linked to this.
Can I finish?
Yes.
The result is that transactions are taking more time to process, and depending on the app, people are paying higher fees to get their transaction processed first. So actually, the consumers, they will not be getting benefited by that because actually the transactions are getting higher.
My question: how much fees are hired by how much rate of transactions are hired?
Okay, what we are saying is that in the long term, transaction fees is getting higher, and we cannot.
But how can you say yourself?
Can I first finish?
Yes.
We want to prove that it's actually getting higher, and it won't stop to be higher.
Thank you. Any further time? 1 minute.
Judges ready? Opponents ready? Partner ready? My time starts now. So there are 4 main classes in today's debate. So the first one, by getting rid of traditional third parties like SWIFT, cryptocurrency reduced cross-border transaction costs from 8% to 3%. It benefits the following aspects. First, crypto saves 26 billion remittances, which is one of the most important sources of money for poor people. It can help 14 million children to school and provide sanitation for 8 million people and provide safe water for 21 million people. And secondly, cryptocurrencies help poor people in wealthy countries, providing them a cheap and fast access to banking services. And third, cryptocurrencies like MoneyGram, Microsoft, IBM, and other major banks have already adopted cryptocurrency and saved 127 billion in transactional fees, processing time, and fraudulent chargeback. Fourth, NGOs such as UNICEF and UN Food Program have already been using crypto to support financial aid, which already benefited 100,000 refugees and saved 40,000 USD in bank transfer accounts. Josh, they said crypto is not a good tool for remittances. However, they didn't even provide adequate evidence to support their assumption. First, they said transaction costs will be higher, but they never provided a specific example with single evidence, which means that their rebuttal doesn't stand. And second, volatility doesn't matter. We're using cryptocurrency as an intermediate, not a unit of storage, which does not need conversion to fiat money. And during transaction, cryptocurrencies such as Ripple can actually reduce 90% of volatility exposure compared to traditional banking system. So we'll win this crash. Secondly, our WikiLeaks contention is one of the most important arguments in this round. Cryptocurrency can count the freedom of speech for organizations to statistics. They said the donations are anonymous. So what? Compared to our impact, we're benefiting every citizen in a corrupt country. To theirs, about some hacking that exists in every other market. We're benefiting more people. They give WikiLeaks give government and corporate employees the opportunity to expose serious transgression committed by banks, corporations, by governments. By allowing the opportunity to expose abuses committed by these governments, WikiLeaks leads to significant reforms in government organizations and prosecution for war criminals in Iraq and Afghanistan. Because of the revealed bank abuses that have been kicked out for most traditional payment platforms, and the decentralized nature of cryptocurrency allows them to survive. And then there's two clashes mentioned by opponents. The first clash is about crimes. My partner has already rebutted this well. And secondly, we're going to talk about global warming. First, only through mining will cryptocurrency continue to consume extra amount of electricity consumption. However, others that do not use mining do not. And second, energy consumption will not lead to global warming. According to current research, 74.1% of all electricity using Bitcoin mining networks generate renewable energies such as hydroelectricity, solar power, and wind energy, making Bitcoin mining more renewable driven than almost any other large industries in this world. And third, cryptocurrency actually promotes and initiates transactions to renewable and green energy. And now we provide solvency to every one of opponents' contentions. We will allow all clashes, and thus we urge you to vote a pro-ballot. Thank you.
Use 10 seconds.
Okay, ready? Time starts now. First of all, the opposing team kept insisting on short-term, but we believe that we should also consider long-term harms. The opposing team had said that no crimes are going to exist in the long term. Well, the thing is, they can never prove that. Crimes are increasing every year. More and more holes are being found after hackers improve on their technologies. That leads to our first clash point for security. We definitely want to clash because no matter how the opposing team said blockchain is safe, we provide hardcore evidence showing that it is not safe. $4.3 billion are lost, and the economy is not willing to take that risk. $78 billion are lost due to illegal transactions. 56,000 consumers are scammed. The opposing team did not have any plans to solve this point, so therefore we totally want to swing. Onto their main clash about WikiLeaks. Well, that point is actually supports our point about security, proves that it's anonymous, because the basic logic of why we use cryptocurrency for WikiLeaks is that they protect these people from the government. The government do not wish them to do that, so therefore they're making it anonymous that they could not see the transactions being given to the government. So that's why they are using cryptocurrency, and that proves that cryptocurrency are actually anonymous. The opposing team also in their third speech had already admitted that they are anonymous. That totally supports our security point. So they say that corruption has more impact, but what about losing money to hackers, harming the consumer of scams, and promoting illegal activities that could harm people? And is that beneficial to the whole world? No, it harms the whole world. And also, we have to point out that this is an unbalanced topic. The opposing team did not prove how any situation where actually corruption exists and that WikiLeaks actually help these people. They didn't state a single example of how WikiLeaks are helping them. And also, this point supports our pursuit and not into contradicting themselves, therefore their main point doesn't even stand. On to point about corruption, our team clearly wants to we have proven a simple logic if government officials are corrupt, they would not even use the cryptocurrency, so we don't know why this point still stands. On the point of volatility, we have already proven that we have already evidence showing that unstableness of this currency. And actually, we have proven that 50% losses if they give this money for poor people and they use all their money to cryptocurrencies, and then one day Bitcoin, that has a huge impact on them, right? And all the money are actually lost, right? On the point of the environment, most teams said that energy consumption are renewable. They even defend against the point about how hydroelectric power is insufficient and how it actually uses coal. For example, in the Bitcoin box, even the renewables being used for Bitcoin might have their own consequences. Hydropower in particular has huge environmental effects and sometimes has to be backed by fossil fuels. Seasonal variability is already higher than 30%, are expected to increase further. This shows that hydropower also uses coal, therefore it's not benefiting the environment. They did not even defend against the point. And also we have proven it uses more energy using coal against like more than 159 countries and causing the global temperature to have rise like 2 degrees Celsius. So therefore, the 21 is the environment point. On the point of transaction cost, we have already proven that in the future, the prices will continue to increase. Because all this time is increasing because of the scalability and the pressure of the market. Therefore, if we consider as long-term, we could totally see that it's going to be higher. Posting that we don't have the percentage, but why do we need to provide the correct percentage? We have already proven the evidence showing that it's actually volatile and it's actually going to increase the transaction cost, and the time is actually going to increase too. So therefore, we want all the things outside going to do it. Thank you.
Time for Grandma's fire.
First question.
So why are more than 200 banks adopting cryptocurrency if it is so harmful as you have said?
Well, actually, many countries are actually banning cryptocurrencies. For example, Iran. And also, can you give me the exact site how
We've also prevented.
Also, cryptocurrency is decentralized. So how is banks buying cryptocurrencies?
What do you mean? Banks are already adopting cryptocurrency. As we stated, businesses are already using Ripple. We don't understand what you're talking about. What are you saying about
Both
centralized?
centralized and decentralized cryptocurrencies are cryptocurrencies.
We're saying that
Okay, follow up. So are you saying that? So do you mean that cryptocurrency is centralized?
What do you want to say? What do you want to say? We're telling you that businesses are already using cryptocurrency.
Okay, so you're saying that banks are adopting cryptocurrency while you want to prove that cryptocurrency is decentralized too.
We're telling you banks are adopting cryptocurrencies. Sure, if cryptocurrencies.
Well, I'm sorry, you misunderstood our question. So isn't that making cryptocurrency under the control of the governments, which completely
We're
rebels
telling you
against
about banks, how banks are adopting cryptocurrency.
Yeah, banks are regulated by the government. So if banks are adopting cryptocurrency, isn't the government controlling the cryptocurrency?
No, they're not.
Why? Because
Banks are using Ripple as an intermediate to reduce the volatility exposure by 90% and reducing the transactional time.
And
So
sorry,
what's the
we have already
point of
proven that in the future transaction times will actually
It's in the
Answer your
future,
question.
evidence.
Answer your question. In the site, we have already proven, like we read the evidence in rebuttals, I read it in third speech during
Okay, sure. Again, moving back. You talk about volatility rate again and again. So what's the impact of volatility? How much money is lost because of volatility?
The thing is, like, if poor people invest on bitcoins and you give them bitcoins, for example, one day it drops like 50%. Think about that impact. They lose half of their money. Can the poor people afford this? No. Therefore, this cannot even benefit them.
We understand. So can you provide evidence about like how much money exactly was lost through volatility, solely volatility?
50%.
50%.
Okay, according to University of Bristol in 2018, the last time the technical index hit such a low value was in 2018 when it was at.
Sure.
Can I finish first? Okay, Bitcoin dropped nearly 50% from 11,000 to 5,000. Do you want any more
That's
evidence?
my explanation. Now, so you talk about Bitcoin volatility again and again. Well, on this side of the house, we told you volatility exposure is more important other than the 50%.
But still, volatility affects consumers too,
But you
right?
can't even provide evidence that volatility are.
We have already proven our evidence in our rebuttals.
So
one more.
your volatility is mentioning about storage volatility, but we are using cryptocurrency as transaction as an intermediate.
Even if we're talking about source volatility,
We're not talking about
Sorry.
access.
Volatility happens because you transfer cryptocurrencies into fiat money, right? And
We're
you're
not
talking about we're transferring it.
We're using it
You
as
just
a-
admitted that you're actually using it as an intermediary. So therefore, they're proving that volatility actually happens because volatility happens when cryptocurrency are transferring to fiat money. They just said that it's using for intermediary. Therefore, they are using cryptocurrency transferring to fiat money. Therefore, we totally win this point. Answer your question.
Okay, so I think you talk about how WikiLeaks are anonymous. Can you explain the logic?
Because the logic is, why do they use cryptocurrency for WikiLeaks? Why? Because they want to protect them from being the government from knowing it. We have to. My first proposal is.
all the judges ready? Opponents ready? Opponent ready? My time starts now. First, to clarify some voting issues, my opponents talk about corruption again and again in their summary. However, we never even mentioned corruption in one of our contentions, so that rebuttal is, I don't know where it came from. Then they mentioned Bitcoin again and again. However, there are no specific evidence of how much volatility Bitcoin causes, and they only talk about Bitcoin, which shows that they have a limited view on this subject. While we're telling you about Ripple, we're telling you about Zcash and other cryptocurrencies. Then moving on, with cost-benefit analysis, our opponents told us about criminal activity even after we told the example of Silk Road and how cryptocurrency can solve criminal activity, and compared to our impact of helping everyone, our opponents completely dropped our contention about benefiting businesses and how we're going to fight against deplatforming. So that means that they agree with us that we're helping both the rich and the poor, since they drop our contentions, which means that we have a bigger impact and we want the cost-benefit analysis. Then moving on, our opponents believe our main impact is of WikiLeaks, and our opponents believe that WikiLeaks links to anonymity. However, that is not the case. The only thing we're seeing is traditional banking systems are actually banning cryptocurrency, but banning WikiLeaks because they want the government to hide from the public eye. That does not prove that cryptocurrency had any anonymity, since cryptocurrency is so strong. Now we're going to prove how WikiLeaks is the most important. WikiLeaks is the key to help governments because it leads to more transparency by exposing abuse by corporations and governments. According to our evidence from Forbes magazine, from my partner's constructive speech, cryptocurrency payments is what allows this organization to survive after they've been kicked off from traditional payments platforms like PayPal and Patreon. Cryptocurrency gives them the ability to survive and hold governments accountable to act in their best interest for citizens. You can vote for us based on this argument, because our opponents can't actually provide an adequate response, except that cryptocurrency is anonymous and links to the criminal usage, which we already rebutted. So therefore, we believe that we're benefiting the most large-scale people, both short-term and long-term, guaranteeing public safety and also helping the poor by providing them with sanitation, remittances, and also safe water. Thank you. So therefore, we urge for a ballot.
All part time. Is anyone not ready? So, my time starts now. For the folks, I want to clarify our framework and also moving on to some different. Okay, if the content can prove that cryptocurrency are more harmful in the short term and will prevent a long-term benefit, happily we will this debate. Our team believes that a short-term harm is more effective than a long-term benefit. Because if cryptocurrency are severely harmful, which we will prove later in my speech, which we have already proven, no countries will actually adopt cryptocurrency. Okay, judge. Opponents in the whole debate are mixing up with what they are talking about. First, to support the WikiLeaks at the same time of transparency, contradictory to themselves. Second, decentralized and centralized. For WikiLeaks, it's decentralized because it's anonymous and there's no government control. And they are still talking about banks using it and adopting it, which is centralized. So we believe that our opponents are mixing up some voting issues and they're being contradictory. to themselves. Okay, first volatility. Volatile will harm more people, and it's more harmful than lower transaction fees. Okay, market manipulation. Small groups are owning cryptocurrency will cost. If people trade crypto, their money will lose value in a matter of seconds. This will affect thousands of people instantly. For investors, they will lose their money and they put into cryptocurrency and a large sum of money. For central banks, this will lead to financial instability, meaning their economies will be unstable. Also, cryptocurrency being too volatile will lead to a few crises within MPEs because global shopping centers won't accept cryptocurrency because it's so volatile. Okay, move on to our second contingent, criminal activities, legal activities. More criminal activities than WikiLeaks. We have proven that actually criminal activities are more than WikiLeaks, which we have proven that our impact definitely outweighs our opponents' impact. Also scams. Our opponents totally dropped that 80% of ICOs are scams, and they didn't even rebut on it. ICO scams mislead poor people. They lose more money and they reduce transactions cost. This will lead to criminal activity to threat, damage to the economy, and even threatening the well-being of an entire country. Moving on to our last country, energy consumption. Most Bitcoin mining is done industrially. This means a lot of heat. Okay, numbers show that Bitcoin produces a lot of CO2 than other countries, as we have already proven. Bitcoin usage resulted in the equivalent of 69 million metric tons of CO2 in 2016. And also, 56,000 of people are being taxed. So, Judge, please vote for the con.
非常精彩的辩论。现在我想把话筒给到我们的裁判们，看看他对我们的4位选手们有没有一些